group this morning was on the way of building more peaceful relationships between young men and women in South Kivu province of DRC. And I mentioned to the group this morning that in a lot of respects the young men and women think about life differently. And so, talking particularly about sex, which is always an interesting thing to talk about, young men thought that, okay, first of all, sex was necessary for their lives. It was something they couldn't really survive without. And if they had a girlfriend, that girlfriend was required as part of the deal to provide sexual gratification, shall we say. And if the girlfriend didn't want to do that, then it was okay for the young man to force them to do that. And that wasn't rape. On the girls, on the other hand, who had a much bigger price to pay, you might, shall we say, for sex in terms of perhaps an unplanned pregnancy and STDs and so on, were more reluctant to be involved sexually, and they did regard forced sex as rape. Now, I think it's very important that people know that. I mean, that young men know that's what young women think, and young women know that's what young men think. Because if we go around thinking that everyone thinks the same as us, then we can just miss each other and get very angry and frustrated and disappointed. So that's basically what Maroy's research is about. But I think he's going to talk today about developing a curriculum, having finished the doctorate itself, to actually do something, take the action research step and develop a curriculum and then train some teachers to educate children in the way things we've been talking about. Very long introduction, but enough, and I'll stop now and you can...
Yeah, appreciate Prof. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For this professor, the background of this study. As he just said, it's building more peaceful gender relations in South Kivu. This study was conducted among 56 participants, males and females. So the field work was done in 2011. So as Professor came with some of the findings that came from the studies, that brings us to talk today about this, what we are on the board there. In this study, about the findings, we found that the majority felt that they were entitled to sex from their girlfriends. And if the persuasion was unsuccessful, the use of sex was seen as legitimate. This, in their view, they were thinking that forced sex was not rape for a young man. They didn't consider rape, forced sex as rape. Girls on the other side, they were clear that such a forced sex was rape. From their understanding, they tried to look at what may be the reason behind this. The participants thought that there are some reasons that they came with, like weak legislative or legal assistance, pornography, traditional beliefs and norms, and as well the provocative dressing by women, by girls. So when you look at some what fueled the attitude of young men, they were saying again that, you know, the problem is that they were feeling that they were not happy at the challenges they are having with all the people called sugar daddy. Because we're thinking that sugar daddies are taking their women, their girls, because sugar daddies are where their married men well positioned with the able to provide money and other incentives to girls. The girls in the study were feeling that they have got risk of pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases, as Professor just said, and loss of respect that prevented them from not engaging in sexual activity, because they were believing that after engaging with the men sexually, the men will despise you and abandon you. So, for both, the relationship was seen as a normal, also as a key indicator for them entering manhood. There's many beliefs that participants were showing that, for instance, they cannot take the yes that when during sexual negotiation, they could not accept the yes that the woman was responding as yes, because they were saying that when women are responding yes, that's not true, because they must be hiding other idea behind that, because they contradict themselves with their response. What they are saying is contradicting their attitude, for instance. And that men didn't like to believe that the yes that women always say in sexual negotiation is yes. Then they have to force and persuade them.
So do you mean that the no they say?
They know that they say, they believe that is not
Yes.
no, it's
saying
yes.
no.
It's a yes.
What you don't mean no. Yeah.
It's not no, it's yes. Because you see that they contradict themselves. Maybe you are telling her, come in my bedroom. And she's saying, no, I don't like to do it. I don't like. And finally she get there.
But what if she says yes?
Why she said yes at the first time. So, and men believe that this yes, we cannot take it, this no, we cannot take it as a no, a negative response. So, all these fueling violence among young people. And there were other issues that came in the fundings. Like young men, they had difficulty as well about peer pressure. Peer pressure was a obstacle for them, because the men who could not engage in sexual activity were seen like not a man. They were saying that he's not a man enough. So even women could mock at such a man who could not sexually engage in sex. So even girls were saying, what kind of man are you if you are not engaging in sexual activity or having a girlfriend? So at the end, those young men, they were forced to engage in such a relationship, so that their friends could not mock at them all the time. So what was coming as well in this, you found that the majority of both gender, males and females, believe that hitting is another way of showing love. When you hit your girlfriend, that's to show that you really love her. Because if your girlfriend can do a mistake and you don't hit her, it shows that you really don't like her, you want her to remain in her mistakes. And this is a way of correcting her. And both genders agreed on that. They approved hitting, or they say that a clap of love. Just you can receive a clap of love from your man, and that shows that your man loves you. Both gender agreed on that. There was another what come from gender role, when you found that they believe that young girls, they don't need to educate enough. Yeah, so when they get their degrees, they have to remain their degrees in the saving in the kitchen with their degrees. So young men were showing that they don't expect to marry women who have got much education. So though they can have degrees, but they be saving their degrees in the kitchen. So this is what comes with a part of the fundings. From that, it was clear that there was lack of communication between girls and boys on the matter mentioned, that we mentioned. And this may result in ongoing misunderstanding or rise conflict. Yeah, so that we found among young people. And because of this,
just a question, and
yeah.
I don't know the answer to this, but I mean, girls presumably talk to girls about sex, and boys talk to boys about sex, but do they ever talk to each other? I don't mean when they want sex, but I mean when they're just as a matter of conversation. You ever talk? I mean, I don't think we do in the West. I'm just wondering whether you.
Yeah, let's say that another issue that is, they were saying most of that sexual is it's acting. People are acting on it. They don't need to verbally suggest it. It comes through gestures and the way that you engage with your girlfriend. So they were saying, and all these were bringing confusion because when you look at all these assumptions that they were mentioning, it's because of the lack of communication. There's no communication. They could not understand each other when it's true. When they are women or the girlfriend are honest, they're saying this sincerely. They cannot take it such a way because of having that belief that women are doing that. Because most of the time in Africa, when it comes to negotiate about sex, it's like you express verbally. It's an action. And the young men, they were just describing, they described it beautifully. They say that you need only the hand work. The hand work. And work with your hand, and you will achieve your objective. You only touch it, and then you come with the result.
Because it's an interesting question, but I'll say, if you don't mind me interfering a little bit, but in Australia, for example, and this is not true here, but in Australia, you do not talk about religion. Right? That's not a good topic of conversation in Australia. But here, everyone talks about God, and it doesn't matter what, in a sense, what particular faith you might belong to. That's just part of the normal conversation. In Australia, no. So there's a cultural gap, and I think that's true in Europe too, in the UK. You don't talk about God. That's and sex has got that sort of thing as well. And certainly in the West, we do not talk about sex very easily. It's not. And then Maroy's saying, so if a boy wanted to have sex with a girl, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be direct. It wouldn't be a direct request. It would be gestures and indications. And of course, it's a bit. Sometimes you get that wrong. You think, what's the phrase? Is he coming on to me, or something? And you might guess, or might interpret action one way, but it might not be. So in fact, verbalising it is much clearer. Would be much clearer and reduce misunderstanding. In that sense. But there's a tradition of not talking about sex. You don't talk about it. And maybe that's something that, I think you may be going to talk about with your curriculum training sort of stuff to help people get into conversations about sex and enable them to speak to each other about it.
Then I was coming there. Then we found that there is a clear indication that there's a problem of communication between girls and boys on this matter related to sex. And there was now a strong need for educational program in secondary school with discussion of issues such as sex, relationship, and the handling of conflict in intimate relationships. They therefore, all I developed this curriculum based on the findings, because that was part of my objectives in the study as well, to come with something, to design a curriculum that would handle the problem that we found about the findings. So I developed this one. Unfortunately, we could not have because of the fact we only have one session here. We got 10 sessions. Only one session that is here. So this is how we developed this teacher's handbook and a student guide for implementing peace building in secondary schools. In this program, I'm planning to have 2 days of training with teachers, 5 from each school, because I visited 4 schools for data collection, and during the focus group that I used in interviews for collecting this data. So this data, in 2011, we visited 4 schools. Then from this, we have 5 from each school, so that they will attend to that 2 days workshop or training package workshop. From that, so that they may carry this in their schools in the future. And our vision is to see this extended to other schools, if possible. Then maybe we're going to split this. Unfortunately, we could not print all, because it's a lot of, if you could print it, we should need more paper to do for everyone. Yes, it's more than, it's only 2 sessions. If you look at teacher handbook, it's 10 sessions, but we got 1 session. So that's what we plan to do. Now the problem is that we have a constraint, a financial constraint, and I hope that will be solved very soon, so that this may be successful. This training may be successful, because we need to give a place where we have to meet and have something to refresh and everything. And I hope that will be possible to make this something that teacher may appreciate and like to continue with. I forgot one thing when I was trying to, when I brought the findings, teachers as well as seen as perpetrators of violence in this study, because they were using their position as well to force sex to young girls. And it was vice versa, you know. It was like the way all these was coming together, because in one side, girls as well, they were forcing teachers to get in such a way of, they were provoking them, putting their mini skirts and opening their white legs. They open their legs and manage to stand in front of the class, but the teacher will see all that. It was saying that when the teacher see that, the teacher lose control in the class. That's what came in. Now, about this curriculum, we have some objectives that we are following. Is to help students understand the attitudes and behavior of males, particularly as they relate to females and vice versa. To encourage students to think about the attitude that they hold towards the opposite gender and to modify these where appropriate. Another one is to build communication skills between males and females, including love, but respectful communication about sensitive issues such as sex. And the last one is to develop skills managing and resolving the inevitable conflicts which occur in male and female relationship, male-female relationship. That's the objective that we have in this, to follow in this curriculum. So that's I didn't have enough to prepare about this when I've been told that I have to come and present about this. So I didn't know what to say, because if I try to say to come about how I will give this, I will teach this curriculums. This is, we understand, has 10 sections. 10 sessions, the methodology are clearly described, what methodology we're going to use. For instance, for the first session, that will be introduction to conflict and violence. The activities that will be done there, that are clearly displayed in the methodology. Excuse me. Session 2 is how to deal with conflict, because they need those skills as well. That came with, according to the study that we conducted there. Session 3 is gender-based violence. Yes, so including many things. Yeah, like sugar daddies that they may come with. Session 4, gender role and sex. Yeah, we found that when men say that they cannot allow a girl, a woman to work, all these are coming there. We need them to be trained about this issue as well. Session 5 is non-verbal communication. It's where it comes about the no that is taken for yes. It's I think this session will come to learn about that. Session 6 is gender, power, and discrimination. Yeah, that's very important, because there's still discrimination about females in the DRC, where and this belief may be is fueled by tradition. For instance, in the case where you found that a man is forced to marry a woman who's sleeping outside. When you sleep out with your girlfriend, when she comes back later tomorrow, the parents will force her to marry you. That is in the tradition. And if a man make pregnant a woman, they force the man to marry the woman that will pregnant him. So this, I think all this will be due in this area as well. Gender stereotypes, that's session 7. Stereotype, gender stereotypes. And session 8 is sexual abuse. That you've got that rate come here as well. Session 9 is traditional influence. That we have to dig men in this. We have many in tradition. That's still pulling down women. So this section you have is traditional influence. And section 10 is active listening, where they will have to develop skills, communication skills as well in this session. So that's what we can with in this curriculum. So you're welcome with your question.
Maybe just getting to your fascinating findings I think you have partially answered one of the questions that I had in terms of whether there were any citations where the boys were saying they were being violated by the girls. But when you spoke about the teachers who look at the girls who come in ministers and so forth, but I don't know what about the boys. Then secondly, in terms of the challenge which is present at hand, I'm wondering where is some form of legislature? It could be the constitution, it could be at national level, it could be at school level even. Or it's just, the misnomer of culture, where you just assume somebody says no or says yes. But I'm wondering, what is the stance of the school? Are there any regulations to regulate so that, yes, involvement, that's another thing, but the constitution of the school or the rules and regulations of the school might say, when you're off campus, you can do as you wish. I'm not sure whether these things are happening on campus or it's off campus. Then lastly, I'm wondering what the girl child has done in terms of unchaining herself. Because I think from your presentation, it appears maybe the ladies are on the receiving end. I hope you recall all this. In terms of the school regulations, what are they saying? Are they saying when you're off campus, you can do as you wish? That's where probably abuse is taking place. Then secondly, are there any cases where you came across the boys saying we are being violated? It could be sexually. Then thirdly, what has the girl child done before you arrived? Were there any mechanisms that were in place where they said we are trying to challenge this particular perspective of the boy child?
So, when it comes to the question to know if the boys have been violated, so boys were saying that they are not only one make violence, because they are saying now there are few of them, because it may happen that they've been forced with a girl. They were saying that some girls fuck them so that they marry them. They have fucked them to have sex so that they may come into the trap. The girl may like the man and say, okay, I want this boy. And I want her to go with the man, know that you get pregnant, and she'll be forced to get married to the man. And so then I'll be violated as well with that situation that is fueled by the culture that is put in place, showing that you have to marry after impregnating the woman. So they are not out of those violations as well. But there are few of them in this case. As we know, most of the violent, or those who cause violence are known as men. That's what is. But the violence that is coming from women is minimized and taken a less stage. So girls, to come to understand what is being done with girls in this regards. The second one, before getting to this, about the legislation, that the DRC has a problem about the legislations, and when you found that there's still a culture of impunity, legislations are there, but they are not put into practice. So the government has all those legislation that protect women, but they are not put into practice. So that's why you find there's still much violence in the country, much rape, and because of that, unfortunately, this is starting with the military. Now it's going to the civilian. Civilians are now perpetrating the violence because they understand that no one is there to punish them. So there's still that impunity. So this is changing. Slowly it's coming, but I think the government has to work a lot on this issue of bringing the law to be respected for everyone.